Jus Riffin. Tuesday afternoon at 2 p.m. That's EST. Jus Riffin. Special guest and tech and talk. A musicology. Jus Riffin. Coming to you live at the same time here every week. Jus Riffin. Jump in the room, let's chop it up. It really ain't that deep. Jus Riffin.
What's up, everybody? I'm one of your hosts, Hefner. Let me fix this real quick. Anyways, I'm one of your hosts, Hefner. I got Cookie Rabinowitz in the building with me today. As always, per usual, that's what I wanted to fix. We have a very, very, very special guest from the crypto community, crypto Twitter, the Rug Radio community, the Chimpers community, the Rec community, and many, many more. We have the one and only, the infamous Tyler DurdXth on the show today, everybody. Let's give it up. Yeah. I know you're at home. Clap it up at home. Clap it up. Okay, so he's Tyler. I wouldn't say he, because it could be a she too. A lot of people have been asking me, is it a female? I'm like, we'll find out. I don't want to spill the beans, but I think people are going to be surprised. When they hear the person's voice. Tyler's voice. I say the person, Tyler's voice. I think this is going to be an awesome show today. He's never done an interview. This is the first interview. So Jus Riffin has got the exclusive right now. Yeah. And there's a lot of things that I want to know. I know, Cookie, I know you want to know a lot of things too. And everybody that's out listening, by the way, thank you very much for listening. We do this every Tuesday night. I'm sorry, Tuesday. We used to do it a Tuesday night, but we do it every Tuesday, 2 p.m. We are powered by Rug Radio. And so now that I got that out of the way, we're going to have a great conversation today. Cookie, what's cooking with you, man?
Well, same as usual. I got a system in place and I'm just working on all the grind. One thing I'll say, since we are a music show, is I'll say I finally got a bulk of this code together, this app I'm building, to where I can dig back into guitar again. And I've been practicing a lot lately. And it's something how muscle memory works. Because when I first picked up my guitar after my work week this week, I felt like everything was so sloppy and it was terrible. And I still don't have a lot of time to do the what would you call it? Like the exercises. You got to always, just like working out, it's not something you do like 8 hours one day and then not for another week. You have to do it every day. And with that said, I've been just over the past few days, I've been digging into like some stuff I've been working on for like just little bursts that I have, like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. But just after like 3 consecutive days of doing that, it's like you get it all back and then some. And there's something to really be said for consistency, like just in everything. I wish I had that same consistency with my financial management, but maybe Tyler will help us out with that today. Maybe
Tyler's going to help us out today, because he's definitely got some pointers. He's got some stuff that he's got the inside scoop, and we're going to find out we're going to find out a lot about him, today, or her, I should say. So, I think what you're talking about is super important. Muscle memory, and you need to practice. It's like anything, any sport, any instrument, even if you're studying in school, you have to exercise your brain. You have to exercise your muscles. You got to play it. You got to be in there. Otherwise, you're going to be rusty and you're going to be sore the next day from playing or whatever you're doing. You got to stay on it, whether it's 15 minutes a day. It's like working out. It's like doing push-ups or something, What were you going to say?
Yep. It's that old cliche. It's use it or lose it. But before I say anything else, I want you to remind me, because like the key thing I got out of it, which I already knew, but it's great, is like, if you don't have a lot of time, it doesn't matter. Like, take 5 minutes and just show up. Say, I'm going to work on this scale for 5 minutes, or I'm going to study these charts and these other investors for 5 minutes, or I'm going to exercise. I'm going to go to the gym for 5 minutes. I don't go to a gym myself, but whatever you're doing. But I want you to remind me, or you ask Tyler if he only had 5 minutes a day to study, like, the charts, and to invest with very little. How could he do that for somebody who is not, you know what I mean? I'd like to know that, because I want to really get my finances in order. I'm a mess. I've always been a mess. I'm way too old. I'm not old, but I'm way too old to not have my finances together. So, I mean, and we all know, hey, let's face it. If you want to win, you gotta invest. Like, you can work your ass off, you
Mhm.
can build things. I mean, invest in yourself is part of that, but you have to invest if you really want to win at life, man. It's too tough. The economical struggles are here for everybody, no matter what country you live in, or whatever. So we have to get that in order, and I'm too old to not have it in order. So now that Tyler's on the show, I really want to pick his brain, and I know you'll ask some great questions. I'm sorry I went on a rant there, but
It's all good, but you should just, I'm not going to remember that, but you should remember that, and ask him when he's on the show, or she is on the show, or they are on the show. I'm just kidding.
what,
It's
yo, what if he's like a monster, like an alien from outer space?
could be. We've been seeing a lot of these. He could be that alien in the AI videos where they do the interviews. Have you seen this shit? Is wild, bro. Have you seen that stuff lately?
I haven't, but my girl's really into. She's been getting into this stuff, and she showed the. I haven't seen a lot of it myself, but when she explains it to me, it breaks it down, and I'm like, wow, you know what? It's believable. I don't
That
know.
VO3 or whatever is just incredible. There's, it looks like it's all AI, but there's like a human AI, right? A human looking AI interviewing an alien and
So cool.
asking questions that would pertain to an alien. Like, what's your experience on Earth, and well, what do you hate about humans? And just, it's pretty funny. It's like the apes, the gorillas, or
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the funniest one to me is Ja Monkey. It's this little monkey, and he's got the Jamaican accent, dude. It's the most hilarious thing in the world, bro.
I want to add one thing.
Because I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, no, go ahead. You were just about to say something. I didn't mean to cut you
Yeah,
off.
I was gonna say, because you're looking, you're it's like it's a little monkey talking, and it's obviously it's AI, but it's, your brain is not used to seeing this, a monkey talk, right?
Mhm.
So it just yeah, I always fall on the floor laughing.
That's cool. I want to add one thing to that. Two things. First off, I've seen some posts using the Grok Imagine or whatever it's called, and
Yeah.
I've seen that looks pretty wild. But I want to also add that to this. I kind of miss. I'm seeing a lot less. I miss those dirty, quick, shitty looking memes, because now a lot of people are using AI. But I love, real shitty in Photoshop, cutting out a head and pasting it on something, or
Right,
the
that's
old.
what the memes were. Yeah, that's what they're
Yeah,
about, right?
the old Conan O'Brien shit where they had the guy's picture and you'd see the mouth moving, but the
Oh,
mouth is
yeah,
a
yeah,
hole
yeah.
cut out. Like,
That
I
was
love that shit,
awesome.
man. That's
Yeah, yeah.
comedy, man. But so let's bring that back too. Let's keep fucking with the AI stuff, but let's bring some of that stupid, silly cut and paste stuff, because that has great comedy value, man.
Bring it back. That old school rap. AI is, as you know, it's awesome. I actually did some cool stuff with the rec thing. I made this like giant. It was a girl's holding a giant rec can and throwing, spinning it. It's just, I don't know, silly to me. But the one with Farouk's twin. If you guys out there have not seen this yet, just find my Twitter and you're gonna die laughing, because it's pretty fucking funny. So it's like an image I took of Farouk from the show, with him wearing that the tank top, with the, like, he's at, like, at going to Studio 54, with the chest hairs hanging out, like, and it's just hilarious. And it's like speaking Spanish, and the lady's walking and she falls into the puddle. He's just like doing the interview. I'm talking to the camera, rather. It's pretty funny. So I'm having
That
fun
was
with it, man.
cool.
Have you dabbled in like VO3 or any other AI apps or anything like that to create these funny meme style videos?
I've definitely experimented with it. I haven't really found a place for it in my style or what I do. But with that said, we have a local artist here in Philly. His name's Ben Arnold. He just dropped an album, and I he had a video of his new single, and there's crowds of people in it, and it's very cool looking. And he had it, like, he outsourced this to a guy that's really dabbling in it, like you are, and it's pretty amazing. The video is. It's like, it's like you're producing like this like epic stuff on a shoestring budget, and I think there's value in that. Not for me, but I think that's cool. Like, I don't like green screens. Like, I don't in my art. I like fucking with it and playing with it, but if I'm putting out music and stuff that I do, I don't like green screens. I don't like AI. I like to fucking fall on the floor and people see me break a string and cut my face open, and I want them to see the pimples on my face and all that shit.
So
You know?
so if you were to do a music video for, because I know you're working on a music project now, but let's say you pick a song and you do a music video, would you not incorporate any AI at all, even if it was something that that you prompted, or would you
Well, it's
use? Yeah,
I think that's a cool question, and I think it's really cool that artists that do that. I'm for it. I love people using any creative tools that are in their wheelhouse. And hypocritically enough, I would say no, but I have a video I'm building for my second single that's going to be out after my first single, which I didn't release yet, but my second single is coming out a little after that. I actually am using a little AI video in it, but it's kind of in a tongue-in-cheek way. So I am using it, but in a way to me that's kind of just poking fun at the whole movement a little bit, with mad respect to it too. Like I think AI is an unbelievable tool, but once again, artistically, I just have certain ways that I like to distribute what comes from inside of me, but yeah, so yeah, I would use it, I guess I'd say, even though I just shit on it.
yeah. And so I already know the answer to this question. AI music. I know that you're a purist and you're not trying to fuck with it unless it gets to a place to where it's going to be help you, like beneficial, like whether it's like a music assistant or something like this, right? So we have Devin Abiza coming back on the show with his dad, Maximino. Next week, right? We have them on the show next week, actually. And Devin has been messing with Suno, but he's
Yeah.
he's a real musician, real producer, like you, and I want to say like myself as well. But he's been using AI, and I'm curious. I really want to know how he's using the AI, and has it been beneficial, or is it annoying? Because what's in your head, what you want to get out, but prompting, and sometimes AI runs you in circles. Doesn't matter, even if you're using ChatGPT. Sometimes ChatGPT becomes Retardio's cousin, and you're like, I didn't ask for that. It starts giving you stuff you're not asking for. So yeah, you feel what I'm saying. So I wonder if the music is actually beneficial, helping or hurting.
Well, just on that real quick, Devin, I think he's an awesome producer, musician. I mean, but that whole family is just super talented. And I think he showed how he was using it. So I have a couple comments on that, and I'll keep it short because I want to get our guest on. I'm excited. But I think the way he's using it is perfect because he's the artist. Like, he should decide what tools he wants to use. Like, that's not for anyone else to judge. And he shows an example of him using it, uh, creating tracks and then submitting some ideas and getting stems from Suno and then bringing them back down and manipulate them. And if that's what he does, he's the artist. Like, who's to say he shouldn't do it? Like, nobody should judge anybody else's process. Then it wouldn't, then that art, that just doesn't make any sense. So I'm with it. But what I'm not with is, check this out, and this has nothing to do with Devin, is, and maybe I'm just being a weirdo, who knows? But Suno to me, right? Obviously, and and this isn't anything with any artist, but I've seen some ad campaigns they're running with real artists, such as Devin and whoever, and they're amazing musicians on their own right, and they're utilizing clips from them to promote their product. And I think I understand it, and this is marketing. I think this is a good tactic for them as a business. Like, hey, we're not just for dudes typing in, make me a song about about dogs, and then you hear this cheesy song on an Instagram reel about dogs. They're saying, oh, we're real artists put their stamp of approval on this. And I just can't help but think that's a little bit of an insidious marketing strategy, because you can dangle a carrot in front of an artist and say, hey, you know what? Here's these tools, and we're going to put you on if you tell people how great they are. And I'm not saying that's what's going on, but that's the way it appears to me. And
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong with that, because
I,
there's a business
yeah.
marketing and there's an artist. But I think
Right.
that artists should really make sure that that's the lane they're going in before they sign up for that. Just like artists should have made sure, not that they should have, but maybe should think before they put all their songs on a streaming platform like Spotify. Like, we really have to think about where we want to put ourselves, because it's our decision, you know. And
I
it,
think
you
that
know,
I
and the
think that
quick road. Go ahead.
I just think that comes down to advice. It comes down to years, experience, knowledge. And if somebody doesn't have that knowledge, they should try and seek the proper knowledge, getting advice. It's like same with your finances. You know, you need to know what to do with your money. You go get a financial advisor. They're going to advise you on what to do with your money and where to put it, where to allocate, right? So it's the same with music. A lot of these people that are wanting to be musicians will do anything. People that want to be actors, actresses, they will do anything. They will go on a reality show, even if it's going to embarrass them in front of the world. Anything people will do to get their 15 minutes, to get their foot in, whatever the deal is. That's what happens with things of this nature. It happens before AI, and it's happening with AI, because AI, in my opinion here, is a tool that people can use. People that are lacking getting their foot in the door, they're utilizing the AI because it's at their fingertips. They can use it. It's a tool. And if they can make something from that, I'm all for that. I'm not against that. Make your money, do your thing, just as long as you're not hurting anybody and you're not wrecking somebody else's music or anybody else's, integrity. So I'm for however anybody wants to get theirs, go do it. I'm also a purist. I love just real musicians, and I'm never ever going to like AI. I shouldn't say I'm never going to like AI. Currently, I don't like AI music, and I am unsure if I ever will, unless it gets to a point to where it's the human, right? Utilizing it in a way that is controllable. And I just feel like the AI with music is uncontrollable.
Or maybe it's too controlled. You know, maybe we need to keep the uncontrolled into the music, into the
I
artist.
think what I
That's what
mean by
makes
that,
art.
well, I don't want to kill what you're saying, but what I mean by that is uncontrollable. Like, you and I can sit down and we can write lyrics. I can come up with a drum track. You could come up with your guitar track. We're in control of that. I'm not asking, AI 8 million times to give me, kick, snare, hi-hat, give me a 7/8, time measure or whatever. I'm not asking, give me polyrhythms. I got to do that on my own. I could tell the AI it's just not going to give it back to how I want it 100%. So that's what I mean by it being uncontrollable, because I can control what I'm doing, and so can you. And we're human, so we can control what we're doing. What we
Speak for
can't
yourself,
control
because
is
I
what's
can't.
out of our control. What?
Speak for yourself, because I can't control shit. I can't even control.
You
I
got to be
can't
like
even.
Janet Jackson in control. Jay. By the
Wait,
way,
hold on. I want to show
yeah.
the label.
Show the label. Okay, I don't want to be riffing any longer. I want to bring up our guest. We've been yip yapping over here and just riffing for a hot second. So everybody, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. You guys are probably like, yes, thank God they're done talking. Fuck those guys. Anywho, we got the one, the only, the guy that you want to listen to, the person that has the alpha, the person that has the knowledge that you seek, that I seek, that we seek. Rug Radio family, Chimpers family, Wrecked Guy family, RWD. Say it with me at home, RWD. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Tyler Durdексth. Welcome to Jus Riffin. How you doing, Tyler?
Hey guys.
Excellent.
How's it going?
Very well. So I just want to let everybody know Tyler is not comfortable with showing his face. So he needs to use his avatar. But Tyler, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being on Jus Riffin with us. How's it going?
Thank you for having me. Hey guys. Yeah, it's going great. It's going great. I'm really excited about this podcast. As I said, it's my first one. So I'm a bit nervous, but really excited about talking to you guys and just
Excellent.
just like riffing, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. So first of all, when I asked you, would you like to come on the show? I didn't think you were going to agree to it, really, because I know that you're inconspicuous. You do your thing. You're on the timeline, but you're not out there trying to really be out there like that, right? So why did you decide to come on the show and do this, to have this conversation with Cookie and I?
That's a good question. To be honest, I was, 90% there in terms of saying declining the invitation, and I guess as we discussed before the show, I think there will be a point where I'm going full-time crypto, and I'm going to have to be more public and just get used to speaking on the public stage, and I just wanted to, I guess, to have a warm up with you guys, and I've been watching your show. I think you guys are excellent. You're great hosts. You make your guests very comfortable. So I thought, that's probably not a bad way to get started.
Excellent, man. Well, thank you so much, man. We greatly appreciate you being here. This for me is just going to be an awesome show for us, and it's going to be a great time having this conversation with you. Greatly appreciate it again that you're here. Before you said that you mentioned that you're going to soon go full time into crypto. So let's rewind a little bit. Take us into your world now, leading into where you want to be.
Well, I guess right now I've got a bit of a double life. I've got a normal job in a financial industry. That's how I got to know a few of the great founders like OSF and Mando, because we used to be in the same industry, and our path crossed during their financial career. And I got a family and a lot of very mundane responsibilities, but at the same time, I think my head is very much in crypto. As you can see from my timeline, I spend a lot of time watching what's happening in crypto. I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about Web3, and I really love the many communities I'm part of, and I've met many amazing friends. So yeah, it's just a space I want to be in, and I guess to my wife's despair, I'm running this double life right now. I think at some point I will give away my my boring career for like a full-time job in crypto. I don't know what it's going to be, but I guess we'll find out soon.
Are you the next James Bond? Is that what we're hearing here?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I wish. Yeah, not quite.
All right. Well, fair enough, man. Well, this is an awesome, I get time to be alive. It's a great time to be alive. So crypto and NFTs, what drew you to them? What brought you into it? And then what gave you the passion to then speak upon it with such vast knowledge, and just like you do these like incredible deep dives into particular projects and stuff, and you really show the light more than anybody would. Why did you choose that lane? Like, what was it for you that made you want to write and to be really a voice in our community?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I guess maybe to start with how I got into this mess. I guess it was basically one of my friends who started a bit earlier than me and started buying those JPEGs for a few $100s, a few $1,000s, and we were sitting in a bar, we're making fun of him, and he shows us this picture of a cool cat, which he bought for, I think it was less than $1,000, and was now worth $10,000, and we were just blown away, and sort of like couldn't comprehend how a picture of a cat could be worth so much money. So I guess we had a few more sessions at the bar where he, sort of educated us on NFTs and crypto. And at some point I sort of jumped into it, and downloaded MetaMask on my phone, bought some ETH on Coinbase, and sort of like bought my first NFT. And it was the scariest thing. Like, you send press a button, you send some money, like, you don't know where it's going, and you wait, and you panic because nothing is coming back. Because back then, like, if Ethereum was pretty congested, so it was like late 21, so it took like a few minutes for the NFT to appear in a wallet, and it was the scariest thing. But I think the feeling of like just owning this like unique piece of of art in your wallet is just, I think, is very addictive. And I think I'm sure everyone who is involved in crypto, especially in NFTs, will understand what it feels like to buy your first NFT. And I think once you do it, it's kind of hard to come back.
What was your first NFT that you bought?
You're going to laugh. It was actually it was a Cool Cats raffle ticket. So it wasn't even a Cool Cat. It was a raffle ticket, which was really expensive. I don't know why I got convinced by my friend to buy that, but you had like a chance, like 1 in 100 chance to win a Cool Cat. And otherwise you just like, had a piece of art in your wallets, which ended up being completely worthless. And I didn't win the Cool Cat, so it was truly worthless. But anyway, like, that was my first experience. I got hooked. And then I guess very quickly after that, I got into, I was like introduced to Reg. Well, he wasn't Reg Guy at the time. It was DJs, and also to Farok and Rug Radio, because I think that was around December 2021. So like a few weeks after I got started.
What drew? Okay, let me start with Rug Radio real quick here.
Yeah.
What drew you to Rug Radio?
I think it was truly Farok. I think it was, it was a combination of just Farok as a person. He was already extremely charismatic, very, just a magnet in terms of attention, and extremely, enthusiastic about the project. So I think, I was following OSF and Mando on Twitter, and it was clear that, they wanted to go heavy into that, into Rug Radio, and so we did more research, and we stumbled across Farok, and we're like, sort of like very impressed by the guy himself.
Mm-hmm.
But also I think the idea of this decentralized media, like, even though like to this day I think we still don't really know what it means. I think Rug Radio has gone like through like many transformations, and we still don't really know what decentralized media means. But like at the time, like, everyone was so excited about Web3 and crypto and decentralization. This idea of like the first decentralized media with Farok at the helm of that project was, very attractive. So
and truly remarkable. Yeah, just truly remarkable. Like you said, they've transformed so many different ways. But I think that's what makes a great company, is like you say, okay, well, whatever we thought here is not working. We got to grow. And where are we growing? What are we doing? Where are we going? And then the pieces just start, coming together one after the other. That I respect 100%. I don't care where they started. It's really where they're going. And that I think they've not let the reins down, right? They have not sunk. They've stayed afloat. They kept it moving. And you're right. Farok is charismatic, and he has a good aura and a good, good mojo, and he's got, the people want to work with that. You want to be around that. It's just, it's very contagious, so yeah. So let me ask you this. Now, you said that prior you worked in the same industry with OSF and Mando. Did you actually have conversations with them? I didn't catch that when you were saying it, but did you have combos with them regarding Rug Radio?
Not directly. So we when we were in the same industry, we never talked about crypto or NFTs. I actually learned afterwards that they were obviously very big in Bored Ape and a few other like projects that got very, very big, and obviously they made a lot of money and resigns to go full time into crypto. But I kind of found out about it afterwards. So we never got to talk about it. So it was truly because I was regarding them as so like references in a space, even though they were quite new as well, back in 21. But I think they already had a big community, a lot of followers, people who believed in especially with their background as a finance people. I think people really regarded them very highly, and So I was following those guys on Twitter, and then I saw that they were posting about about Rug Radio. I still remember, I think OSF posted some sort of financial analysis on why Rug Radio should become like a 10 ETH PFP or NFT, which turned out to be completely
say that one more
bullshit.
time. Can you repeat that? It should be a what? How much?
10 ETH, I think, or it was like some ridiculous number. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. You heard it first. Tyler DurdXth just told you what to do.
But
buy more rugs.
At 22, and it turned out to be completely, untrue. But anyway, that's sort of like that was like I guess what's pushed me into looking into the Rug Radio effectively.
Excellent, so good. I don't want to get into Rec Guy right yet. I want to still talk about Rug Radio here. What's your consensus? What's your thoughts on Rug Radio? Why is Rug Radio going to win? Like you mentioned, it transforms. So we're at Destan, which is the main company that the umbrella is Rug Radio, Decrypt, Dgens, Trader. What was the
Lucky Trader,
yeah. And Myriad Markets, right? It's just huge, like really big transformation, and then division of one company, or divisions of one company. What's your thoughts here on this? Like, I'm really curious to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, look, I think they're onto something much bigger than people can comprehend right now. Like, obviously, I've got the benefit of talking to Lux and Farrokh and Ilan quite regularly. So even before they got into prediction markets, we were brainstorming about the different directions it could take, and the idea of going for prediction market was brilliant. I think it was from Lux, and I think it was the right call. Absolutely. I think prediction market is going to become a massive driver of influence, source of information, and just content for media. And as we saw during the Trump, the presidential elections, like people from the Wall Street Journal to the Financial Times were quoting poly markets, right? When they were talking about odds of one or the other winning the elections. It's very clear that it's going to become a source of truth, so I think they are in a sector that is going to boom, and I think the difference between there are two key differences, I think, between Myriad and Polymarket or even Kalshi. I think one is they have the push of Web3 behind them, whereas Polymarket and I think Kalshi are just companies that people use, and people use their products, but they don't have a community. Like, no one cares about who runs the business. They just
want to bet, make money, and that's it.
Exactly. It reminds me a bit of like pump.fun, right? Like they haven't built a relationship with their customers. So I think harnessing the power of Web3 is absolutely could be absolutely critical to their success. And I think Farrokh is better than anyone else at doing that. But also, I think the genius move was to integrate prediction markets with both decentralized media like Rug Radio and more traditional media like Decrypt. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's more to come in the coming month on that front. But I think they have built an incredible distribution network through traditional media and decentralized media that makes them very credible to potentially integrate Myriad into more newspapers and online media sources, and I think we're going to see that a lot more in the coming month, and I think ultimately they're going to win the distribution war against Polymarket and Kalshi, and it is going to be incredibly hard for the other two to compete, because to acquire a newspaper or to create a decentralized media platform takes a lot of time and a lot of money. So I think people are underestimating Myriad and Destan more generally quite a bit. I think the team is is brilliant. Farrokh is obviously a great spokesman. Logs, who you had on your show, is is a genius, very brilliant guy. And Ilan, who's more of the product developer tech who comes from Decrypt, is much more discreet, but also a very, very brilliant guy. So I think they have an amazing business.
That's right. Miss Henny is in the audience. She agrees with you. She says absolutely. Very smart, very, very smart team. Destan, Rug Radio, Decrypt, Myriad Markets. How does Myriad Markets really win? I know it's Web3 blockchain, but you have Polymarkets, you have Monster, and they're now going to be in cahoots with X. So how does Myriad compete, or does Myriad do they not even look at it as competition? They just stay they're in a different lane.
No, I think they will compete for sure, but I think what Myriad is going for is, as they just announced, they're going for a protocol positioning, which means that they want to be integrated natively in as many apps and as many websites as possible. So I think the way they will compete is by just being in people's face, whether it's in their wallets, whether it's on the newspapers that you open online, or whether it's through some plugin into YouTube or X. They are going to be everywhere, and people are going to be able to click and predict without any crypto friction, because I think that's what they're working on right now, is to remove completely the crypto friction. And I think that was one of the drawbacks from abstract, as much as I think abstract is amazing and a real advance in customer crypto. I think there's still a lot of friction. You still have a pop-up, you still have to click on a button, you don't really know what it's doing. I think the Myriad team is working on removing all the friction and making it very, very easy for people to predict.
For sure,
Go ahead, Cookie. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, this is really exciting what you guys just brought up too, and the protocol aspect of, what they did with Linea just recently. And I just think I want to know your thoughts on, in your opinion, how else could this be used in that way? Because I could see they're using the Linea layer too, and then they have abstract. But I mean, I could see this even breaking into even smaller niches. And I'm always, I'm just always narcissistic and thinking music and stuff like this. But even I could see bands having a website where they engage with their fans using either their token or another layer 2 token, and having Myriad Markets as a plugin for them to engage their fans in some in topical stuff, whether, hey, what do you think we're going to open our next set with, or whatever? And obviously that wouldn't work but you know what I'm saying? You could plug this protocol into, and I just wanted to make an extreme example, not that I would do that, but you could plug this protocol into pretty much anything and create engagement and fun and give people a voice in whatever website or whatever business it is. And that's what excited me. And have you thought of different ways they could use this protocol like that?
Yeah, look, I think it's going to be a tool for influencers, just people creating content like you guys to engage with your audience, and I think that's where they want to go as well, right? I think they're going to start with the more traditional, centralized markets, quotation marks, but basically markets that are dictated by the team to start with, to avoid just to make sure it's controlled while they are still testing the pipes. But I can see a scenario where they make it a tool for content creators and influencers to engage more directly with their audience and make revenues from it as well, right? You could imagine, as you said, a band putting a prediction market on their social media. How many tickets are we going to sell at the next for the next tour, right? For instance, and then fans can predict, and then they can make revenues from the fees generated on the market. So I think that's where they're going. How they're going to do it, I don't know yet. I don't have any insight in how they are planning to.
Don't BS with us, Tyler. I know where you live.
Look, the way to keep getting the alpha is to make sure you don't steal the alpha. So I have to be mindful of what I say. But look, I think they have been pretty open about it. I think even Lux talked about it last time. But they have huge ambitions. I think it's incredibly underestimated right now. Although I think more and more people can feel that it's going somewhere, but I think it's just hard to put the full picture together at the moment. It's still relatively scattered around, and you have to be deep into the ecosystem to understand what's happening. But I think the next few months are going to be very exciting.
What do you know about the token? What do you know about the token that they're going to be dropping, and the merging of the rug token into this, again, transforming, right? The rug token is transforming into a different token. So what's your thoughts here? What's your take on the token, and what can you break down for us to let us know what's coming and how it's going to happen, if you have that knowledge?
I don't know when it's coming. I think we are getting close because they're not stupid. They see the market is getting very hot. They obviously don't want to drop a token in a bear market. So
right.
I'm sure they are. They want to move as fast as they can. I also think there is a bunch of bigger announcements coming up, which I think they want to get out of. Out in a while before the token. So I have no idea where so don't take it as alpha. It's my pure guess, but I'm guessing. If I had to guess, I would say it's probably October or November latest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with them marinating, and I'm with them not launching a token prematurely. We've all seen how that's happened to other companies or other people that have tried to do the same, thinking that they're going to just run off their hype. And I truly believe why the rec token is winning is because, one, the community, but also there's something behind that token. It's not just air. It's not just a token where the founders and the developers suck all the liquidity out. There's something actually behind it. So that's why I'm okay with these guys not launching a token now. I'm not going anywhere. I mean, I've been here since 2021. Where am I going? I'm here for the long haul. I want to see how it all unfolds and unravels, from where it was, like this. So I'm okay with that. And I think that's the right thing to do.
Absolutely. And look, I think, when they unwound the DAO, where was that? I think last year people were, suspicious, and so they would just run away with the money and the brand and just left the community behind. I think what I know for a fact is, Farok and Lux deeply care about the community. They want them to win. I think, they will do everything for a token to be as valuable as it can be. And I know they're working on utility. I have no idea what it is, but the token is not going to be a meme token. It's going to have true utility in the context of prediction markets. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very exciting, right? Because you have this potentially massively successful prediction market, which will be widely distributed, and you're going to have this token which powers that prediction market. I don't know how, but we'll find out soon, I'm sure. I think it's people should be excited, and I know Farok and Lux care deeply about their community winning, the way OSF does about the regular community.
For sure. Yeah, I was
just gonna say I wanted to double down on that. It is super exciting. Go ahead, Cookie.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, just like you're saying, how Lux and Farok, they care about the community stuff. Like you yourself are also very passionate about all the projects you're invested in. We see it on the timeline, and it's not a shill. Like you really deeply believe in these projects, And I have a question about how you decide as the investor, because it's kind of ironic. It's like the stuff you believe in, you would never sell, and that's why price go up. But then at some point, you want to. How do you stay engaged and support the companies as an investor, but still take profits with etiquette and still feeling like you're part of the company? I'd like your perspective as an investor, because you know.
No, that's a great question. I think you know, when I started my journey in crypto, I think I made the same mistake as everyone, which is, you know, you just paper your money across multiple things. You don't do much research. You know, everything is going up, so you just assume it's going to keep going up. And you know, you flip your NFTs, you flip your tokens, you make money. It's great, but you don't really understand much about anything, right? So you're just back in 21, 22, we are just benefited from the market being, you know, incredibly hot. I guess, you know, I learned a hard lesson at the end of 22 when my bag went from, you know, a few $1 million to pretty much nothing, right? Like, because I did very well, you know, in the first half, flipping, you know, Azuki, Moonbirds, etc., making a lot of money. But then I just held on to, like, you know, I reinvested into crap, which I didn't research. And guess what? By the end of 22, most of it was like smoked. And that really forced me to reassess how I didn't want to get out of crypto, like as opposed to many people. The fact I lost or I gave back a lot of gains didn't deter me from crypto, but I just reassessed my approach to it. And I think, you know, there's a thread to everything I'm investing in now, which is, first of all, I need to believe very deeply into the founders. I need to know them personally. I need to believe they will not walk away from their project. I need to believe that's their life mission to make it succeed. And that's a common thread you're going to find in everything I invest in. And what I find is that if the founders are, you know, have that level of conviction, it's very easy for me to have that level of conviction as well, and to speak passionately about the project, right? So obviously, Myriad is one of them, and you know, there were time where, like, very disparate time for Rug Radio, when, you know, no one wanted to touch the NFTs, and I was probably the only guy buying them at the time, which hopefully is going to be a good trade. But that was just because, you know, I had no idea where they were going.
What made you want to continue buying? Like,
it was Farrokh.
Okay.
I knew Farrokh was going to make it, right? It's just like the belief that the founder will find a way to make it.
You
like
believed. You really believed.
Exactly. And the same thing with OSF, and you know, it's the same thing I see in Chimpers as well, which I think is a project you guys don't know very well. But you know, the three founders are absolutely incredible. You know, it's two twin brothers, and I think the third one is not DurdXth, so I'm not going to say, but let's say like it's a family of founders. You know, those guys are absolutely incredible. And once you meet them, you just want to invest in them. Unfortunately, I tried to give them my money, you know, to invest directly in Chimpers. They didn't want it. They just want to stay independent. So, like, the second best way for me to invest in them was to buy a shitload of, you know, NFTs. And very similar to Myriad and Rex, I know for a fact that if they make it, and I'm 100% sure they will make it, they will give back to the community. How they do it, whether it's a token drop or, you know, buying back the NFTs with revenues, I don't know. I'm sure they will figure out a way to give back to their community. But that's you know, that's the way I approach everything I invest in right now.
I mean, that's a great way to look at it. I'm with you on the same note. You know, like, Cookie and I have had that conversation too, you know, where it's all about the founders. It's like, who are you investing in? You know, we have the experience from coming up in the early days of this NFT stuff and seeing the bad actors, and then realizing who the real genuine people are. And I agree with you. I don't know about Chimpers. I know that Chimpers been around for a while. I know, you know, one homie in the community, OD, you know, that's the only reason or how I know about Chimpers. And I want to know more. I'd love to get them on the show. So if they're listening, we would love to have you on the show, Chimpers. Just reaching out. Love to talk to you and get to know you guys and about your project and about everything that you guys are doing, much more, so I could have a better understanding of what it is. And I'm about that, Tyler. I'm about, like, the founders. I'm about investing in people and companies that are doing like what Locks and Farouk are doing, and Mando and Osef, and even the Chimpers guys. I'm all about that. That to me, I'd rather put my money in than just put it up my nose or flush it down the toilet, so to speak. So yeah.
Yeah, look, obviously Rekt, out of all my investment, Rekt is the first one to take off. And I think it's very refreshing for myself, but also like the many people in the community who believed in Rekt and have stayed with Rekt for 3 years, to actually see this, like, it's probably the most mid-curving view, like, take you can have in crypto, which is the good people, win in the end. Like, I think for a long time, I guess the opposite was true, which was like the biggest scammers, the loudest grifters would be the one making it. And I think it's really refreshing for Rekt to show the way, to be that first project with true Web3 values, like a true inspirational leader in OSF, becoming so big and so prevalent in Web3, and I think is only going to get better. My view is that people are just waking up to the fact that as in any other asset class, we should back the people who know what they are doing, people who care about growing creating value for their shareholders. In this case, the shareholders are the token holders and the NFT holders. And I just find it like amazing that after 3 years, people are finally waking up to this fact, and I think it's going to be, I guess, Cookie, you were wondering how to invest. I think it's as simple as just find those projects which have the same values as something like Rekt or Myriad, which are still undervalued, which have a plan, a vision, and a way to create revenues in the next 12 to 24 months, and enough funding to survive. And I think that's going to do very well, is my view. That's how
I got to get some
right
of these
now.
rugs. I got to get some of these rugs. Does anybody know where to get them?
Absolutely.
For sure.
We can help you with that. Yeah, we can help you. Okay.
We had another Tyler D on the show not too long ago, and I asked him this question. Do you what do? You buy the dip or do you take profits?
Right now, I buy the dip because I do that across crypto and equities as well, because I invest a bit in equities. But like my view is that we have at least another 6 to 12 months to run, where things are just going to keep going higher, not in a straight line. So I think the strategy right now, at least for me, is to buy every dip, and not be shaken out by like local volatility. I think at some point in the next 6 to 12 months, we'll have to start thinking about exiting some of it. But I think we are still a long way from that. So I'm extremely bullish about crypto in particular. I think there's a much more to run.
Okay, for people that don't understand and they are investing their money into companies like Destan and Rekt and Chimpers and whatever else is out there, what is the proper way to pull out? Like, how do you know when to pull out? Because a lot of people don't, and they get that high of it just going higher, but then the smarter people are pulling their profits out, and now it's going down, and those people still hold on even if it goes down to the bottom. So what advice can you give? Not I guess it was financial advice, but like just human advice on how to go about doing it, or can you explain how you go about doing that?
Yeah, sure. I think there are two sides to it. I think the first one is you need to set targets. So when I invest in whether it's an NFT like Chimpers or a token like Rekt, like basically I set myself targets where I will start taking profits. So if we hit those targets, I will force myself to start taking profits, so I don't give away everything I gained up to this point. So I think setting targets from the start and sticking to them is very important. Regardless of whether you think it might run further, at least you have this discipline of taking the chips off the table regularly, so you don't find yourself like completely naked when things turn. I think the second thing is like to find reliable sources of information and analysis around where crypto is going next, to understand like where we are in the cycle, right? Because if you just listen to the influencers, like the guys we all follow on X, those guys have no clue. They don't know what they're doing, right? It's like they don't have more clues than us. I think there are a few voices, like Raoul Pal is someone I follow quite closely, because I think so far, like ever since I've been following his lead on where crypto is going, he has been right pretty much every step of the way.
Repeat the name.
Raoul Pal from GMI, Real Vision. He's like, he used to be so like a hedge fund guy who is now like running
super smart,
super smart guy. And he puts a lot of like content for free on X, and he's got a podcast as well. I would really recommend people to listen to it. He's like very bullish right now, but I think he will, he's also going to tell us when things are turning around. And I think just make sure you listen to the broader macro, so you understand, even though you may not have hit your milestones, you understand where you are in a cycle, and it might be time at some points to de-risk, basically.
It's a lot of stuff that goes into this, Tyler. Like, it's not, you're looking at it from a very small percent of the world looks at it the way that you look at it, right? The majority of the world has no idea what you just said, and how to go about doing this. If people are looking for lessons, where would you suggest for them to go to learn how to do exactly what you're saying?
Yeah, as I said, like try to find a few voices in social media who know what they're talking about. I think Raoul is one of them. I think someone like OSF is, with his financial background and his experience as a trader, is probably also someone I would regard as, very experienced and someone who should be able to call, the top or at least close to the top. And I think, it's also important. What I'm doing right now is like trying to figure out what's going to blow up next. Like obviously FTX and Luna were the trigger to the previous, the previous downturn. I'm trying to think, okay, what are the things that are going to blow up next and are going to start a bear market? My view is that all those treasuries companies that, like MicroStrategy, the new Ethereum treasuries are probably going to be the ones starting the next bear market. So watching what's happening with these companies and their share price is probably not a bad bad call. So yeah. So I think if you don't have any financial background, just figure out who are the best analysts in crypto and just follow their lead. That would be my.
Thank you.
And
man.
don't listen to the influencers. Don't listen to the calls. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, because the influencers really just want to pump their bags and take your money.
Exactly.
Really is what it is. I just put Raoul's Twitter handle up there for anybody that wants to go follow him, and also follow OSF, Rec OSF. I'll get his Twitter handle and put it up there too. But yeah, I respect your perspective on this, and you're spot on. Every time, like you have something to say on the timeline, and even talking now, just spot on. Cookie, I want you to jump in here, man. I know you got some questions and things you want to ask.
Sure. I appreciate this conversation so much, because I could feel like, even though we want to educate our audience, I just really want to educate myself, and hopefully they're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. I'm being selfish right now, but we're talking about realized profits, right? And realizing profits, and basically not doing a 360, or what I'm saying, I forget that, but anyway. So do you ever use like the strategy of, let's say an investor, nobody in particular in mind, a friend of mine, like let's say an investor is like kind of totally invested, like they don't really have any outside liquidity or to put in, and they're into all the projects they believe in. Would you ever recommend them using a strategy of like selling the spikes and then buying back in on the dips with the same, with their same exposure? Or do you think that's not a good plan, or does it depend on the market conditions?
I think you need to be, no one can call a top or a bottom, right? So that's the truth. Like if we knew if some people could predict tops and bottoms, they would make a lot of money, right? So it's very hard to call it. I think you need to have, at least that's how I think about it. Like I have a view of where it's going, so like medium term and long term, and again, I have a target, and as long as I don't hit that target, and my view hasn't changed, whether it's a macro view of what's happening in crypto or more specifically on the project, I don't tend to trade my way around, my conviction plays. Like I might add more if I have like spare liquidity. I may change my mind on a project and maybe like de-risk to go bigger into another project. That's also possible. Like, if I look at all the, I don't have many investments right now. It's like five really, like five things I invested in. They're all at different stages of maturity, and I guess like at some point, like I'm going to have to take profits from the first one to hit the target, and I'm going to roll it into the next one that I think will be hitting its targets, right? So you can play around between your convictions, but I think trying to trade around the volatility of your conviction plays is very hard, and you might miss you might miss like your timing. You can get the timing wrong, right? So like the project starts mooning and you just sold and you completely miss. Like if you think about REX, right, as an example, REX has been very volatile, but overall it has been trending up almost every day. But there was a time when it was down 20 points, right? If you had like sold at the wrong time, it would be you would have to pay much more to get back in, right? So it's very hard to time it. So I think it's about like knowing, having a view of where it's going, having like a vision where it's going long term, and then as I said, like once you hit your targets, it's time to have the discipline to start de-risking. So you can roll, you can cash in for your lifestyle, or you can roll it into your next conviction play.
For sure. I also want to ask you too, this is a little non-related, but I'm just interested in your opinion on these different companies building on layer twos and even different blockchains. Like, how do you feel it's all going to play out? Do you think it's just going to be like, it doesn't matter, like the tech is going to be there, the applications are going to be there, and people aren't really going to notice what layer two or what even blockchain it's on? They're just going to use the functionality in whatever app they're doing. And I'm speaking actually specifically about, like, for instance, myriad markets being built with Linea now, and then also with Abstract. Do you think there's? I'm just curious on what you feel of layer twos and if it's convoluted or.
Yeah, I'm not very bullish on L2s as like a project that you can copy paste and you like roll your own version of. Like we've seen so many of them, Berachain, Mega-ETH, Sonic, Abstract. I think ultimately people don't give a fuck about what the blockchain does and how fast it goes and how many transactions it can process per second. Like who cares? I think it's what matters is the user experience. I think the apps built on the chain are much more important in that respect. And I think I think Myriad is making the right call, which is to be cross-chain. So basically to create a protocol and an infrastructure that can plug into any chain, so that whoever wins, like or become dominant, they can be part of that journey, as opposed to be married to Abstract or some other chain. So, but like I'm pretty cynical about people rolling out new L2s, and I just don't see why we need more L2s. To be honest, I think we have enough.
Sure. Thanks for that. That was very helpful. One other thing on that though, do you think, like, as far as being married to a chain, but then that's how things kind of get confusing again, because let's say you're building an application, like you kind of have to, it seems to me that if you as a builder use specificity on the chain you build, you can make the user experience for your community a lot easier, a lot less friction involved. But if you try to cater to all these different chains, your community is going to have friction in their in their usability and the user experience. Any thoughts on that for like people building with different technologies?
Yeah, look, I think Myriad, I think the way Myriad is going to go is that you're not even going to know there is a blockchain, right? So you're going to pay for prediction with your credit card or your PayPal account. So I think that's where they're going. So whether it's built on abstract or linear, like it doesn't really matter. Like you're going to pay with your credit card. In the background, your dollars are going to be turned into USDC and then go on to whatever chain, but like you're not going to see that. So I think that's where they're going to make it completely frictionless for users. And I think that's how it wins.
Yeah, that's how it wins, because we might be a little more tech savvy than the average bear, right? But the average bear has no idea. They're not going to know how to bridge, how to swap, how to move. They're not. That shit has to be done automatically on the back end. So the people that like commercialize things and they're not really diving deep into tech, they need to just know that they use their PayPal, use their credit card or whatever, and they got what they wanted. They don't need to know, like you said, the back end. They're going to be like, what? I'm out of here.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening, and obviously, I think that's where Base is going as well. I think Base is trying to be the same, sort of like user friendly front, and the blockchain is just it's just part of the infrastructure. It's not the product, right? I think once you start making the token or the blockchain the product, that's where you start losing your way, and that's why we we have so few actually useful products in Web3 is because people tend to focus on the token or the blockchain before there's actually an actual product that people want to use. And I think we're going to start seeing the first generation of companies building product that people actually want to use, whether it's in gaming or Myriad, and I think that's what's going to take crypto to the next level, where it's part of society, part of the fabric of society, and real infrastructure powering real products.
Yeah, I think the times move with the tech. So tech pushes everything. There was one time when people were listening to television shows, right? Now look what we got. Like look where we're at. I just saw the company Joby just bought another company that does people transport in these like helicopters that look like drones. It's like incredible. So this is where we're at today. Technology pushes everything, and the smart people roll with the tech because they need the tech to get their ideas up and out. What else are you looking at besides Rug Radio, besides Chimpers, really, and besides Wrecked? What else are you looking at? Are you looking at anything else?
Yeah, so I guess there are two other things I'm looking at. I'm quite heavily invested in a project called Hytopia, which is a Web3 gaming project, which has been around for a long time, but under a different name. It was called NFT Worlds, I think, when he launched in 22. It was supposed to be, sort of like a crypto infrastructure built on top of Minecraft, so people could build like servers with games, and you could incorporate crypto into your tokenomics, your economics, etc.
Is it still on that trajectory?
No, so it got rugged by Microsoft in 22, where Microsoft said, Microsoft owns Minecraft, and they said like, we don't want any crypto around Minecraft, so we're going to ban anyone who builds on Minecraft with a crypto angle. So those guys like rugged, and it was like it was a big bag for me at the time. I lost shit of money when it happened, but the guys basically, again, like very similar theme to Farok, OSF, and the guys at Chimpers. Basically, instead of like just walking away with the treasury and saying, oh well, I'm sorry, like it didn't work out. they basically figure out how to turn it around. And what they are building right now is still on the radar, as everything I've been talking about to this point, but very much on the radar. But it's basically a competitor to Roblox. You know Roblox?
Of course, the kids they play this thing. First of all, I didn't. Okay, so Roblox I thought was the game. I didn't know that it was the platform and there's games on Roblox. I had no idea. I just saw the little like square figures and the kids are over there playing it. And I thought that's Roblox. The whole time I had no idea it was a friggin' platform. Cookie, did you know it was a platform?
Not until recently, like you, but I do know that I have several friends with kids that spend all their time on Roblox. And I was like,
and their money.
Wow. Yeah. And their parents' money, right?
Yeah, true to that.
Yeah, so Hytopia is basically building a competitor to Roblox, and what was very smart about it is that they are making it truly cross-platform, so you can basically play a game in your browser as opposed to installing an app or a game onto your console or mobile. So you can just open it on the browser and you can play straight away. So if you think about it. Yeah, cross-platform, and you can share it with your friends, right? So if you think about a kid who is playing a game, goes like, "Wow, that's amazing! I want to play with my friends." You just basically WhatsApp your friends the link to the website. Boom, your friends are in the game. So that's pretty amazing. The second thing they have done very well is that they captured very early on the vibe coding, trend. So they built all their engine in a way that it's very easy for an AI to learn it. And people can spin games in a matter of minutes. So you can basically create an FPS or a role-playing RPG based on existing game, but with your own style, your own gameplay, your own spin in a matter of, well, it depends how detailed you want to be, but you could have a game within minutes. If you want to be obviously more thoughtful about it, it will take days, but it's not going to take you months or years as it would for any game.
Do they have this?
They were very. Sorry,
go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. No. I just want to say, do they actually have this up and running right now? What you're explaining?
Yeah, it's in alpha. Wow. You can. I'll send you guys the link, but it's in alpha and it's working. And there are some very cool games being built right now. And I think people like in Web3 haven't really caught onto it because they're still left with the idea that it's a Minecraft, like a crypto Minecraft project which died in 2022. But the guys are, again, two geniuses, like very brilliant guys. They have not given up and they came back even stronger. And I think it's going to be, Web3 gaming is kind of fucked right now. It's kind of dead, but I think they are going to single-handedly revive Web3 gaming because I think what they are building is crazy. And yeah, love it. So that's another project I'm very involved in, and again, talking to the founders and trying to help as much as I can with them. The last thing, which again something we don't see anyone talking about in Web3, but is to me is the biggest opportunity in crypto, is basically the BitTensor/Tau token. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's basically in my mind like the only AI token worth investing. Is like it's the equivalent. It's the Bitcoin of AI in my view, and there's a lot of like very brilliant minds behind it. Ex Google, Barry Silbert, who used to be a whale in Bitcoin and built Grayscale, which was the first fund to invest in Bitcoin. Basically came out of retirement to go all into BitTensor and is basically building businesses and investing a lot of his money to educate people on BitTensor. But that to me, it's not a short-term play. I think that's like a 4 to 5 years play. But like I think when I start taking profit on my the projects I invested in, I'll probably invest most of it into BitTensor because I think that's going to be the next $100,000 token, right? Like Bitcoin.
Wow, that's a bold statement, Tyler.
I'm not the only one to say that. Like a lot of people who are deep into it, I think are of the same view. It's like Bitcoin is at a stage where some people are extremely bullish on it, and the other half is basically calling it a scam or just like a sham. Like it's all bullshit. like BitTensor when it was worth like, you know, $500, right? So we're at that stage. But if you actually objectively spend time learning about BitTensor, it's actually mind-blowing, like what's happening. And it's going to be, it's basically going to build the future competitors of OpenAI, you know, XAI, etc. It's but in a decentralized, truly decentralized way. It's like a true decentralized, you know, AI ecosystem. And I think that's going to be in 5 years' time. It's not going to be like the next 12 months, but it's going to be massive.
I love AI. Send me the link, please. Send Cookie and I the link. That would be great. Yeah, before we get up out of here, because, you know, first of all, you know, we're a little bit over time, and so thank you again for your time, and just so grateful to have you on the show. And it's been, you know, wonderful talking about these particulars in crypto and in Web3 and the usage of blockchain. So, you know, our show is a music and tech show, but we talk to everybody, right? So I want to really end our show on music. So I want to know what your take is, because I just got a DM from Farouk, and he's just like, really wants music NFTs to win. And, you know, I get like at least a DM a day from Farouk. Sorry to blow you up like that, Farouk, but I do get like a crazy, you know, and it's sometimes he gets on a rampage, and I'm like, dude, calm down. It's just music, man. We're going to get there. Don't worry. But no, for real though, like, you know, all kidding aside, what's your take on blockchain music? Do you see it, like, is it a thing like, yeah, we're talking about gaming, and we're talking about, you know, brands and prediction markets and stuff. But what about music, man? Because music makes the world go round. 99% of us were conceived with music on. So tell me your thoughts on blockchain music.
Look, I think it's not a completely stupid idea that, you know, music could go on blockchain the same way art, you know, the visual art is on the blockchain. And I think there could be you could create an element of scarcity of owning, you know, fractionalizing music and owning a scarce piece of you know, a song or whatever. Like, so I think there is, for any type of art, there should be an application using blockchain where collectors get to own, you know, a scarce piece of some art, whether it's music or something else. So I think there's a use for that. You know, do I see other applications right now? Like, not really. I think, you know, we have seen people trying to sell their you know, a song,
sure,
like a token to people. I think it turned out to be mostly a, you know, a scam or like a money extraction. So at this point, I'm not willing to bet so much money on that. But could it come back, and in a different way, maybe with more regulations and more guardrails around it? Like, yes, why not? I think, again, like, it's a way to, you know, blockchain is just a way to create ownership, which is permissionless, which is, you know, trustless, and you can apply that to any assets, and particularly any digital assets. So why not music? But
why not?
You know, we haven't seen much, right? That's working right now, so I'm still waiting.
That's right. And I think it's going to come. It's just a matter of, and like you said, you know, like there's people come out and they see, oh, I can create a token, you know, like, yeah, how many musicians, right? You know, like how many people that are in the music industry, and they just want to make the quick money. You know, that's how I look at it, like a quick, let me take your money type of thing, you know, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, okay, I'm not in trouble. I didn't steal your money. You know, you invested in whatever I created over here. It's not my fault that you know, it lost. So I really feel that's just without guidance, and it's going to need somebody to come along that has the proper guidance to do it the proper way, because I agree to the fact that music will be on the blockchain, and it should be on the blockchain for loyalty, for more connections with the more connection, you know, interaction with the consumer and the musicians, where it's, you know, you're maybe paying for, you know, special access, you know. So I really feel that it could happen. Not music NFTs, but just music in general on the blockchain. I really feel that it could get there. Thank you for your take on that as well. You know, I greatly appreciate that. So, Cookie, Tyler.
Yeah. You know, hey, I just want to chime in on that, you know.
Yeah, please.
I think, so when it comes to music, at least, because that's what I love, you know, I think you can use the technology sometimes for the opposite of scarcity. Like scarcity is cool, but you know, you can use this very same technology for connection, for broadening, for network effect. And I think, in my opinion, that's how music wins with this technology. It doesn't win by creating scarcity like, hey, let's make this precious thing that only one person can have. I think in the nature of music, which it's meant for, let's use this technology to spread the music to more people. But anyway, that's just my short take on it. And since we're at the end of the show, I also want to say too, thank you, Tyler, very much. I learned so much from you. I'm a financial idiot, and even though we're a music show, even though we're a music show, when we have people like you on, it really helps me just in life, man. I'm not that great at life. I'm okay at music, but so thank you, and thanks for calling them up, because you know.
It has been a pleasure. So thank you for having me. I truly appreciate the opportunity, and hopefully we get to speak again soon.
Yes, most definitely. We'd love to have you come on anytime. If there's anything popping and any news that you want to talk about or anything that you're excited about, you have an open door policy. Anytime you just come through, just DM me and I'll send you a link. You jump on with us. No stress. I want to thank. Yes. So Tyler, thank you. Everybody that's been listening, thank you very much. Thank you to the community, to the rec community, to Chimpers community, to Rug Radio fam, everybody that tuned in. And if you're not part of that fam, you're part of our fam. So thank you very much. Part of the Jus Riffin fam. We do this every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, powered by Rug Radio. The one, the only. You know how it rolls. You know how it goes. Stay tuned. Next week, we might have a change of plans. I just got a DM that I saw, so we'll let you know what's going on with that for next week. But until then, everybody be blessed, stay safe, and make sure you hug your parents, and if you got kids, hug your kids. Don't be afraid. All right, we'll see you guys soon. Peace out, everybody.
Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Jus Riffin. Tuesday afternoon at 2 p.m. That's EST. Jus Riffin. Special guest and tech and talk. A musicology. Jus Riffin. Coming to you live at the same time here every week. Jus Riffin. Jump in the room. Let's chop it up. It really ain't that deep. Jus Riffin.